Okay, let's go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the BUCKEM podcast. I am Cristal Chacon, and this is my very first episode with the BUCKEM Pod crew. Again, thank you all so much for having me here. Very excited to start this journey with every single one of you. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started and talk about our beautiful Denver Broncos that, just finished their preseason. And again, if it ain't about the Broncos, BUCKEM. Fanatic Dak, Kinley,
Let's
Jess,
go.
how we feeling?
Hello.
I am first and foremost. We are stoked, thrilled, whatever you want to say, to have you join the crew. I'm excited. The Broncos are 3-0. I'm hyped. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Crystal, super excited to have you. I am excited that we finished 3-0, but have a lot of thoughts, some good, some not so good, and I'm ready to discuss it with you all.
Let's go.
Man, I'm so glad you are a part of this team. And I can't wait to get into it. I know we're heading in the right direction. Looking forward to what we can achieve together. So let's get into today's topic.
Let's
It's gonna be
into it. So, the Broncos actually went 3-0, but Bo Nix was in his bag, ladies and gentlemen. He finished 10 for 14 for over 100 and how many yards is it?
110, 114, something like that.
114.
In between there.
Yeah.
As a person who was at the game, Bo did his thing. I will say that Bo did his thing. The offensive line concerned me a lot, and it's not like they weren't in the right spot. They just whiffed on a whole bunch of blocks. And it's almost like the communication is just not there. Maybe they're still trying to gel. I'm glad Sean kept them out there for 3 series, and even the Cortland and Bo started to get on that same page. It kind of worries me a little bit because it still felt like the offense was just Court and Bo. It still felt like that because the O-line couldn't get the run game going. Evan Ingram had a bad drop. Mims and Franklin, those guys get it going. Franklin, I think with more reps, he'll start to understand it more and more. I think Franklin will be fine. But Mims has to if you're going to be on the field, you have to make people fear you. Okay. You can't just be I'm going to be over the top guy because we're going to just put a safety over the top, have the safety help over the top of you. Okay, and then we can just focus on – like you have to be more. From what I saw, that's all I'm going to say. I could go on forever. Let's kick it off to somebody else.
Josh.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, just from watching the game, I would say that Bo Nix did look a lot more comfortable this game. He also looked – we've been talking about how poised he looks and all that good stuff, but – some of the plays he was making, it just looked like backyard football, and I freaking loved it. He had like this one little throw to Bidet, right, where he was like falling down. It was kind of like Patrick Mahomes-ish, and I love to see stuff like that because it happens in real games. And so I think that he looks ready. Kinley, to your point, the O-line, I know we've been talking about this, for a couple of episodes now, but it's one of those things like I think they just need to continue to get those reps together. So with preseason, they're not getting like a full game, right, to kind of work out a lot of the kinks. They're only playing, a few snaps here and there, maybe a quarter or two, but they really do need those reps so they can start like syncing and like everything looks like more fluid. But although I do have those concerns, I do think it's going to work itself out because Sean Payton's going to make them work it out.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to continue, with missing, blocks and things of that nature. And I just, I'm just hoping that they all kind of like get it together. To your point, it was a lot of Bo and Cortland, but that's what it's probably going to be a lot of. But I think that Sean is also hiding a lot of what we're supposed to see for the season, for the regular season. It's not going to just be them two. So I think Ingram's going to get more involved. I think Troy's going to get more involved, but I think he's keeping that in his back pocket. So those are my overall thoughts.
Good point.
Defense is spectacular.
What about you, Crystal? What do you think? What are you feeling about this game and all that?
Well, very similar to what y'all said. I loved seeing Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, but I was also like, that's all I'm seeing at one point. And at one point, you just kind of see them always dragging to the left. And I was like, oh, that's going to be expected. Oh, he's always going to pass to his left side, and like, I loved it, and I was like, come on, give me something else, more of the run game as well too. And to y'all's point too, the only way that run game will be successful is if that offensive line just really kicks in and like really blocks for our quarterback. Like granted, it's preseason, but these are also very simple things that you got to fix now. Communication aspect that y'all said, that needs to be fixed right away too, because we want to come in already making a statement. Like there's everyone, some people are talking us down, but a lot of people are talking us up. And I feel like with what Bo is doing and that confidence level, I think that'll be great. But again, everything just kind of needs to get together, mix itself together. I think Bidet did really, really well too. I'm really upset that he did it like the baddie last name, or to be referred to baddie's last name, because there's things I'm like, dude, you did great. So
He's a baddie.
he really is. Bro. But overall, I love seeing some of those playmaking, especially with they were being covered pretty well by the Saints, and the fact that they did get some of those catches was phenomenal. So to Jazz's point, defense is great, but I'm interested to see how the communication continues on with our offense moving on. So
Yeah, definitely. I feel like this whole team as a whole, like we have depth. This is something I think that was one of the biggest questions going into the preseason was if we really had depth. Yes, we had the starters that looked good on paper or whatever. We had some injury concerns and like a Dre Greenlaw or what have you. But what about the guys behind him, in that position? And then you look at the tight end. What about the guys behind Evan Ingram? And there's some dudes that stood out, like a pre-score that is Kinley's man. Let me tell you. And anyway. But like I really, and then you look across the board, like the edge rushers. There's so much depth at that position. It's rich there. The rich get richer. It kind of feels like you already had Bonito and Jonathan Cooper, and now you have Quay Robinson, who had a sack in this game. You saw him fly off the edge there and get that sack in this game. That was phenomenal to see, and you see why the Broncos were like, oh, let's draft this guy. So yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm not really too worried about. I mean, I know the O line. It's going to be a transition, like to touch on, the O line, and they're kind of getting their wheels under them. I had to go back to the O line because it's like you have to get your wheels under you. I know a lot of people were concerned. I was watching the timeline. I didn't really get to watch the full game, but like going back and looking through things, and I was just like, this O line, they just got to gel. You see, the center, Wattenberg, kind of not really holding down his anchor, and he's giving up his block, and people are getting through. I would like to see a little more consistency with that. And I want to see more execution going down the line as we get into week 1. We'll find out, I guess. But go ahead, Kinley. I'm sorry. You're itching over there, bro.
I'll say this: Powers needs to change his last name because I don't see no kind of power with him. But besides the point, I mean, left guard and center raises eyebrows because coming into the season, that was our main concern for the O-line. And what did they show you in preseason? We should still be concerned. But like I said, they were in the right spots. I'm sure Sean Payton will clean all that up. They just whiffed on a bunch of blocks. I'm sure, I may have said that, it looks like Court and Bo, but like as to Jasmine's point, they're probably not showing everything. And I feel like Evan Ingram will be a cheat code in this offense. I'll definitely say that. But the fact that you brought up Bidet, Dak, I believe you had something you wanted to discuss about Bidet. I'll let you take the floor.
Well, it's like a lot of people I know like Bidet, and I feel like it'd be nice to have him on this roster. But if you look at in terms of what you could get for draft capital, because a lot of people tell me that this gentleman is a well-rounded running back, and I agree to that. But the thing is with that, him being the best well-rounded running back that we have in terms of like backing up a J.K. Dobbins or R.J. Harvey, why don't you look into maybe getting some potential draft capital? Do you get a 4th? Do you get a 5th? It depends. But I feel like the Broncos could only benefit of doing such a move that way. I know it might be a hot take, but it's something that I think as fans that we need to like really think about and like keep an open mind about, maybe the Broncos look to go that direction and maybe keep Jaleel McLaughlin or a Blake Watson or what have you. But I'm curious to what you guys think. I'll let Jazz and go, and then
No, I like that take, Fanatic. I would say, has he like his showcase? Is there enough there to even get some draft capital there, right? Like, so he did start pretty well last season, but then he got hurt, and I feel like that was kind of it. So, I guess like sure, but what teams would be interested in Bidet? And then I would say also,
yeah,
on the flip side of that, he has looked like the best running back on our team so far. He's the only one that can just make something shake with all of the issues that our O line is having right now. And so I'm kind of selfish in the fact that I want to keep him,
yeah,
just in case things do start off kind of rocky. He's finding ways to make plays and moves and just show a little bit of like burst, and for that running back room. So I'm kind of like in the middle of it, but sure, yeah, like if we can get something for him, that's great. I love how we flip Vele, but again, it's just like, what are the chances that's going to happen, and what would we get for him, and
right.
does it make sense for us, right? Because as of right now, again, he just seems to be the only running back that's making something happen.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I could see that notion for sure. What are your thoughts, Crystal?
I agree. I 100% agree. I am a huge fan of his, and I was really upset when he did get injured last season because I feel
Yeah,
like he was such a huge part of that running game. And to Jazz's point, like other teams are like, yeah, there's some potential, but like, how much are we willing to give as well if we don't really know what's the caliber with this guy? I also think that he is one of the best returners for us for punt returns. I think he's did phenomenal with that 46-yard run. Plus, again, his carries are just good. He was running pretty well, and I do have some faith in him, and that's probably my fault too because I have a lot of faith in like a lot of our running backs moving forward. But like again, it wasn't that he was doing super bad last season. It was the fact that he got hurt. So I
that's a
think
good point.
I wouldn't
That is a
I
good
wouldn't
point.
diminish it. Yeah.
Yeah. Kinley?
Well, excellent points y'all made. I'm on the fence. I'm 50-50. Because if a team is like, hey, we'll give you a fifth for him, you better answer that phone and be like, all right. And the reason being because you still got a guy in Blake Watson if you want to keep him, or if you want to decide to give Audric Estime another shot. But I will say though, it's more likely we keep him because, as to your point, last year he got hurt. Not only that, Sean Payton decided to go with Bidet, who hadn't played since week 4, in a playoff game over Estime. And as to Crystal's point, he did a phenomenal job in the return game yesterday. He just added another element as to why you can't let him go, because now he plays special teams. He's also probably your second best pass protector at running back after
Right.
J.K. Dobbins. So Audric Estime didn't show me enough, and he showed some, but it's a little too late. And then there's the debate about Jaleel or Blake. To me, I
Yeah.
still feel like Blake's the better back. Seems like it's heading towards Jaleel. Now, the fact that Bidet did not talk to reporters after the game, if you make the 53, wouldn't you be talking to reporters?
Right.
I mean, all the other people who are shoe-ins to make the 53 were talking to reporters. So that's a
Yeah.
little eyebrow raising. You could be onto something with the trade, like there could be something brewing. But I guess we'll see. You know, the offense, the O line in this game did not do Blake Watson, Bidet, or RJ Harvey any favors. Now, whenever it was later on in the game, there's some UDFAs in, third string in. They made Audric Estime look like Sean Alexander out there. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. There were some cuts today.
I think that's a bit of a reach, but yeah, I hear you on that.
Oh my
Well, they'll
goodness.
make some cuts. They'll make some
Yeah.
cuts. They made some cuts today. We can't forget about Courtney Jackson, though. You know, I would be fine at kick returner if it's Bidet and Courtney Jackson back there. because we know Mims. Once again, we'll say it again. We know Mims wants to be more, and as long as you keep him as a punt returner, I don't see it. I don't see like that be a big of a problem. But like I said, we'll definitely see that. But let's kind of shift a little bit because we've been talking about offense. Can we talk about this defense? Can we please talk about that? I'm a defensive guy. Can we talk about this defense, okay? Because
as advertised.
as advertised, like the field position, they didn't get any help from special teams and from like the offense when it came to field position. But man, Jade Barron and Jaquan will split reps at first team. I definitely think they're going to be splitting reps because Jade trotted out there, and I think this D line is just going to be. Everybody talks about this secondary, but Jonathan Cooper got a sack because Zach Allen forced Rattler to move up, and Rattler had no choice. He had to get away from Zach Allen, and Cooper's like, "Hello, I'm sitting right here." So PS2 as advertised, they went at him twice.
90's too low.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, okay, that's the defensive player of the year, but keep trying. I guess one thing I will say still kind of bugs me. Alex Singleton, the linebackers. All I see is Singleton just run. Like he just runs up, hits a lineman, ball right by him. Like ball carrier right by him. It kind of concerns me. He wasn't really fighting off blocks that well. Same thing with Strenard. We have to pray that Greenlaw stays healthy, but I don't know how that tandem's going to work. It may be a hot take, it may be crazy, but the inside linebacker room, it bugs me a little bit. I'm a little bit concerned because I feel like if our D line doesn't plug up and that running back gets to the second level, you better hope Greenlaw is somewhere near because he would literally be our only hope at that point.
Yeah.
Now the Hufanga, how much are you going to play him in the box?
Right.
You know, he's going to be that extra guy, but like we said, how much are you going to play him in the box? So it'll be interesting what they do because there's two undrafted free agents that I really like in Jordan Turner and Kerryon Reed. And
those are good names.
I'll tell you, they are good. Turner is super fast. Reed is instinctive. He's just like he knows where the ball's going. They are. That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to try and stash both. I think you may have to have one on the roster. You know, Lavelle Bailey showed me he's always been good in pass coverage. He showed me a little bit better, like in run defending. He did a little bit better. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what they do. Would it be a surprise if they cut Strenard Singleton? Maybe so. But would it really because of how good Kerryon Reed is and Jordan Turner is? So that's what I'm sorry. I literally had to go on a rant there because we've been talking about the offense. You know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead. The floor is whoever wants it.
Yeah, I was just going to say really quickly, Kinley, the reason that we keep talking about the offense is because for years, as we've, known the Broncos, the defense has always kind of carried the team. And so it's like we continue to just like, yes, exactly, Crystal. So we continue just to kind of like, give them the same praise. It just sounds like we're talking about the same thing every single year. The offense is just like, when are we ever going to catch up with the defense? And that's why it's just like such a buzz. But yeah, I will agree. And I'm going to kick it off to someone else, Kinley, because you know how I can get. I've talked about this linebacker group and my concerns about it time and time again. You know how I feel about like Singleton. I've made my comments. I've also, talked about Greenlaw as well and just the injury concerns there. But to your point, there are some promising young guys that can come and just step into these roles. But again, my concern is we don't know. And I don't like I don't know. Right. I wish that we were a little bit more solidified in that group and we felt great about it. But it does concern me that this continues to be an issue for us. And we just haven't really found anything that works for us as of yet. But again, we'll have to see what, week 1, week 2, I think we come back and we just have some thoughts about, hey, this group is going to be our Achilles heel. Or, hey, thank goodness this just ended up working out. We're just crossing our fingers at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, to y'all's point too of saying like, I know this is Vance Joseph's defense, but I still think that they don't want to show everything else out there too. Yes, the linebacker situation is still very scary considering, these guys are the main thing that like puts that defense up there. It's just I have a lot, again, it's me with the faith on this team and especially the defense. I believe that because they know they are that good, I don't want to say they'll like chill, but they're gonna really rely on everybody else to do that part of the job, and it's just gonna be holding each other accountable too at that point. So I think that the reason why this defense is so up there and just very like hard for any other team is because like they're starting to really understand the rhythm of each other, and I don't think they're gonna let each other falter. I think that when again to Jazz's point, we've been unfortunate to have some terrible offensive sides to the Broncos, and the defense has been like, all right, let's pick it up. All right, let's go do what we got to do. So I think they already have this kind of like, all right, we can do it. And thankfully it's not gonna, hopefully it's not gonna be the Achilles heel, but it doesn't seem like that'll be the thing that'll mess up the Broncos. I feel like it'll just be a good asset for us too. So I love our defense. Benito's my dude. I think with him too, just being there, it's just amazing. So I think again, having a mix of the young and the old players will just be really reinforcing for the defense. So yeah, I got good hope for them.
Yeah, you guys made some really solid points about this defense. The secondary is going to be pretty legitimate. The linebacker position, we've been through injuries. You look at last season, kind of the drop off in a way wasn't too significant in a way. You know what I mean? It's not like it was like death, it wasn't, you weren't dying, I mean, the linebacker position, but hold on. But if you lose somebody in the secondary, then you have an issue. Like you really have an issue. Sherrod came out last season and did better than what I think a lot of people thought he would have been able to produce at that position, right? Being that, oh my God, you're ridiculous.
I ain't saying anything. What I say? I ain't saying that.
You don't have to. You're thinking some nonsense, bro.
No, go ahead. You're right. I at the beginning, yes, he stepped in and
But
he was
we're not
performing.
gonna. But you're not gonna rely on Sherrod. You can rely on a Lavelle Bailey in this linebacker room as well, who I think he could be potentially that second linebacker next to a Greenlaw. So I'm not really. I mean, it's a little bit of panic, I think, as fans for us because we want to see these guys. I think if they can like continue that bill of health, and like tally up a lot of games in a row, showing that they can be healthy, we'll be a little bit at ease with that position. And we talk about this position all the time, but it is a concern, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's one of our Achilles heels on this defense.
Yeah, to your point, because think about it. When's the last time we had a solid linebacker? Think about it. When was the last time we had a linebacker? That's why you're always looking at that position and you're raising eyebrows because we haven't had anybody. So now everybody's banking on Dre Greenlaw. Exactly. Like that's when you bring up linebacker, people are going to say Dre Greenlaw. They're not going to say anybody else. They're going to say Dre Greenlaw because we don't have a counterpart. We've seen what Singleton can do. We've seen what Sherrod can do. So we're sitting here hoping that either Lavelle Bailey, undrafted free agent, or two other undrafted free agents can be something because we've already seen what Singleton and Sherrod is.
And real quick to touch on that, like this isn't a finished product just because we do our 53. What if there's some other vets that become available, ladies and gentlemen?
That's also true.
You look to add them to your team to like feel a little better with your depth, So it'll be interesting to see who hits the market too that you look into and be like, okay, I feel confident of bringing this individual in.
Right, cuts are happening, and you have
not just in Denver.
Yeah, you got to be down to 53 by Tuesday. So I'm pretty sure that we'll be searching out there for like, tight end, backup tight end or linebacker, I'm sure we will. Pretty positive in that actually, but
I just have a quick thought, guys, because we talk about cuts, but who really wants someone who is cut from another team to potentially be one of our best or one of the players that starts for us? Like, I think that says a lot about where we are for that position. And again, it's just like, for me, I do feel like, especially when we start playing like the harder teams, like the Bills, they picked us apart. Like we were not ready, like in regards to like our defense, and just it was just easy. It was like Alex Singleton. Just to your point, Kinley, we know who he is, and so if Dre Greenlaw goes down, what are we going to do? And so I am
Stay healthy, Drake.
I'm
Kick my
panicking.
leg if you have to.
I am going to continue to panic, but yeah, sure, we can go out and we can, pick up a guy or two who is cut from another team, but that's not pretty. I would really love for us to go out and get somebody who's going to be our guy. Like, why not have like a Fred Warner and a Dre Greenlaw? Why not have like, I can dream,
And then we
but
woke up.
but that's kind of my point. Like, I don't think that we keep talking about Super Bowl run. Well, how do we keep talking about that when that's just like a position that's just like it's just lacking right now.
Fair.
I don't think I really don't think it needs to be elite to be reaching a Super Bowl. You need to just do just enough at that position to be able to reach the pinnacle. If I'm being honest.
And that's why you can sit there and still talk about that, because you don't need it to. You have a Dre Greenlaw. You have an elite player. Now
Maybe you have a Dre Greenlaw. Maybe
fair. But then again, like I was telling people, I didn't need to see Dre Greenlaw in the preseason. We know what he is.
Right.
We know what Dre. We know what he is. As long as you're completely 100% healthy, that's all that matters to me. But you just need somebody on the side of him who's average. In average, I don't need you to be an all pro. I need you to be average.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't even be average, well, I'm sorry, you can't be average. I wouldn't be sitting here hoping that Jordan Turner and Kerryon Reed make the freaking team.
Is Alex Singleton average, Kinley?
Next question.
Okay.
And honestly, you guys, it's good that we're talking. Like, you brought up the fact about talking
Almost
about it's good that Jazz that you're talking about. Like, we're talking Super Bowl this year potentially, right, for this team. I mean, Sean has as well potentially. So going into the season, after all we've seen, Crystal, where do you feel is the ceiling and the floor for this team? Record wise. Okay.
I was like Super Bowl, obviously. But I think Broncos ceiling would be like 11. If we win 11 games, 12 games, this season, I think that'll be up there. Hitting the floor would be losing our first 3 games, truly. And by a little bit, just like the previous seasons, where we were this close and we just couldn't finish, where we like had the momentum in the first half and just could not pick it up in the fourth quarter. So, and granted, it wasn't all last season, previous seasons where our offense couldn't do that. And it was just slow football. So I just want us to have the momentum, our defense to kill it, the offense too, to just be arithmetic and communicating all together. So I don't think that the Broncos are going to go in 0-3. That's not it. But that's why that would be the ultimate floor thing, like for us to be talking them up and they just can't even finish a football game, whether they lose by a field goal or, a last minute Hail Mary, whatever the case is. They just need to make sure that their heads stay fixated on the game 100% of the time. Because I just feel like our Broncos have had that bad luck in some cases where they're just like, no, we got it. It's okay. We have the momentum, and we just, we underestimate the team. To Jess said the Bills. Oh my God, they always get us. So it's just making sure that they stay up on that. So I do have the Broncos at least winning 11 to 12 games this season. And maybe that's be up there, but I just believe that our defense is awesome. And Bo Nix, he can make some throws. He really can. I do believe in that man, and we're gonna see what he brings in. So, but yeah, that's who I have.
I agree.
How about you?
I agree. The floor for me would be 10-7. The ceiling for me was at 12-5. And you hit on a great point. We need to start off fast. Sean Payton even mentioned it last year. We started off slow, lost the first 2 games. So we can't. You want Super Bowl aspirations. You don't start 0-2, and you definitely don't lose to a rookie quarterback in your house week 1. So That's where it starts. Week 1 it starts, and then game by game after that. But this team, you know, I'm ready to see it. I think everybody's ready to see it. Like fans can feel it. You know, I even think the players can feel it too. So yeah, that's my take on what I think for this team.
What about you, Jess?
Yeah, my thought is the floor better be 10-7. You can't do worse than last season.
Right.
Like you're going to have to. I mean, just think of all the hype, right? That's
Yeah.
going into the season, and Bo Nix has taken such a step forward. Well, we need to just continue to build off of that. So that needs to be the floor. But I do have us winning 11, 12 games. I'm kind of in that range as well. We do have a tough schedule. We're playing some dogs this season, so it'll be really interesting to see like
We
those.
got that dog in us though.
Yeah, we do. So I'm excited to see it, but I will say, Kayla, I know you're a defense guy, but another thing that I do think that we have to start off quick about, to Crystal's point, is that run game. Those first 3 games, that run game needs to get it together. I don't know what's going on right now. You guys know my thoughts about the O-line. They better get it together, because we can't continue to progress and be a Super Bowl team with a lacking run game like how we had last season. It's just not going to happen. And teams know that about us, and they know that's kind of like our weakness right now. So if we want to start off fast, we're going to have to start off with that run game and getting it together, because we can't continue to put all of everything on Bo Nix's shoulders. It's just not. It's just not going to happen.
Haven't had a run game in years.
It's just terrible.
Very good points. Very, very good points you guys made. And then just to touch on something real quick to point out to maybe some of our viewers is we were 1-8 last season in terms of beating teams over 500. So let that sink in, and now I think we win some of those closer games more than one game. Okay, let's be real here. I think maybe we get 5 or 6 of those or something, like. But I think ultimately the floor for me as well is 10-7, because if we go below 10 games, winning 10 games, that means that injuries set in for me. That's what I would take, because honestly, but 10-7 would be the floor. But I think this team is capable of winning 13 to 14 games. Like if they're humming, they're not messing around.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're like
you really believe.
Believe. Yeah,
God bless Bo Nix.
They're taking that step. We're gelling. I feel very confident in this team this season, to where you look at week 5. If the Broncos go into Philly and beat them,
man,
I'm just saying, keep that in mind. So
yeah, again, the whole narrative changes if we beat the Eagles and we have a winning record, or we started off what week do we play them? Week 5. If we're like 5-0 or 4-0 going into that game and we beat them, the whole narrative about this team changes.
Jeez.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're capable. Our team has a chip on their shoulder. It's been mentioned that this team has a chip on their shoulder going into the season. So keep that in mind.
I love it.
But this was a good discussion. Crystal, this was fun. Thank you for joining us. Like, this was legit. Our first episode having you on. So thank you so much.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for welcoming me here. It was great. I loved it. Nothing more than just talking sports, especially about our Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
So that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kinley, do you got any final words for us before we head out for our show? Or
nope, that's it. Crystal, we appreciate you for joining the team, being our new host. But Broncos Country, that's it for the day. We will be dropping another video later this week to react to the 53-man roster. But follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page. My bad. I believe we are at 211. Our goal is 500 subs by the end of the season, so help us get there. We are on TikTok. Follow us at BUCKEM Pod. Also on Twitter at BUCKEM Pod. And remember, if it ain't about the Broncos,
BUCKEM.
BUCKEM.